2021 is probably the most impactful that has been in my life. Before we get into that though, you guys are probably wondering right now, where the fuck have I been? Of course the majority of it was from the Cold War analysis I've done, right? But I don't think I've actually explained why that video in particular took very long to do. This whole video project started to really go forward in January. At the time, I was still making the script. But the problem was, I suck at making scripts. I ended up completing like one section of the campaign, therefore like one mission, in a month. If you do the math, that's like almost 7 months. That is absurd. Of course, it didn't help that online school was still kicking my ass at the time. Remember my first commentary video where I talked about for YouTube? And like at the end, I said like my grades were shit, so I hope they got better over time. So much for that. It was around the end of the school year where I finally finished the script, and it was finally time to edit the thing. That took 5 months on its own. I knew it was going to be less time than the script because it was actually the fun part of making the video, but I knew it was still going to be time consuming. And I was right. But before the finish line, I did make a context video of why I was gone so long, because up until this point, I did not make a single video in October. I need to get in frame a bit. I took a video class and I still don't know the basic shit. It was around September where I encountered a very big problem. I ran out of hard drive space for my computer. Well, laptop to be exact. So I decided to make the conscious decision that I had to cut out the multiplayer and zombies, because originally I was going to talk about the multiplayer and zombies. I actually really wanted to talk about the multiplayer and zombies. Well, multiplayer not so much, but the zombies definitely. But my computer won't let that. I am really sorry I couldn't be able to talk about this. Maybe for like a separate video I'll actually come back to talk about those. If I was to say something about those modes, it would probably be like multiplayer, alright, and zombies is god tier. So I decided to cut the multiplayer, cut the zombies, and then make all the conclusion stuff at the end of the campaign. And thus, I finally finished the fucking video that I've been making for an entire year. God, me, what is wrong with you? Explain yourself! Almost lost my cool there. Although when I thought my problems were gone, I encountered another big one. My hard drive got corrupted, which contained nearly all I had for Premiere, including the project. If I were to repair it, it probably would have taken $1,000. I don't have that money lying around, and neither does my parents. So it was at this point where I got very depressed at the time, to the point where I started like monologuing myself that maybe this YouTube thing probably wouldn't have cut it, which I kind of regret saying, because looking at all the stuff I made, I've come so far, I can't quit now. Especially when I just made this 1 hour mess of a video that I compiled. The problem didn't really get fixed. It was just the fact that I still had the project in my file size in the first place, so the USB didn't even matter in the first place, which was funny. And so I finally finished the video after Vanguard. God! In the context video, I said that I was hopefully going to make the video like before Vanguard and stuff. God, I really am the worst YouTuber in the world. So I made the video, everything is roses and flowers and stuff. Not really. At the time, I was having like big export problems, to the point where, as you can see, I had to cut it up into parts. I don't remember exactly what the problem was, but let's just say there's a reason why I split it up to 4 parts. I am currently making a version of the Cold War analysis that is actual full length and will have timestamps. That might be somewhere after New Year's, because unfortunately I'm also having export problems with that video as well. God, you done it again, Adobe. Fuck me in the ass. But now let's probably talk about more personal stuff, per se. I made a lot of friends during the pandemic of 2020. And this year was basically spent, like, reorganizing my relationship with each one of them. There was one in particular, though, that made me realize one of my most biggest flaws ever. I won't go into deep who this person was, but short to say is that I have no clue what I'll do without him. Because what I realized is that I thought I was the most careful, kind, understanding, respectable person that anyone could have ever met. But I wasn't. What I'm trying to say is that I ended up in relationships like saying like, "Oh, your hair's nice," or "Hey, your shirt's looking pretty cool." That's it. I never like took the time to actually like develop relationships with one another. And I didn't realize that because during that year I did abandon some of my friends that looked up to me sometimes. And I just left them into the dirt because I didn't want to put effort into it because that's all I thought it was. I thought I didn't have to take effort to make a relationship work. I was very wrong, and I paid the price for that. I spent time with him for about a month until he realized that I still didn't change. Which I get it. I completely get it. But I don't. No one changes overnight. No one does. It takes time to rework the brain, which is, let alone the most powerful thing in the human body. So it was around the beginning of December where we just kind of just split our ways and hope we wish the best of us. But it was around the beginning of December where I met someone very special to me. To the point where he also changed a mindset of my own completely on its head. I won't talk about him in this video, but maybe for another video I might. Another thing about 2021 was my art. I got really better at art all of a sudden. Well, I didn't really get better at art, I just started doing it more. Which, of course, if you do it more, that makes you better. But to me personally, I don't think it's enough, really, because if I remember correctly, I did, I don't know, 5 pieces? If you make 5 pieces throughout the entire year, that's not really improvement. So maybe for like a New Year's resolution, maybe I'll make like, maybe one, if I'm really pushing it, 2, like, devoted art pieces for each month. And from there, that would really like get me into as an artist per se. The last thing I want to do is something that I've been wanting to do on the channel for a very long time. And that is to read this letter that I made to myself. A YouTuber named by Zillion Ross had done a similar video like this, and he inspired me to make this very letter. Originally, I was going to have this for a video for 2020, but I feel like the video on itself probably wouldn't be as much at the time. But since I have nothing else better to do, and a best of all of 2021 is probably not going to happen, this is what we're left with. Oh man. What does 2019 me have to say to me? Dear 2021 me. Well, technically at the recording of this video, it is still 2021, but let's just redact that as 2022. I wrote this letter to see how you're doing so far. Whatever you say, please be mostly positive. If not, you have some work to do. Don't worry, you have 2.5 years much of high school. Don't stress it out. I don't know what to say. Just answer these questions and stay safe. Well, technically, I kind of have like 1.5 high schools left since I'm in my junior year now. But hey, this is an old thing that I made in like 2019, so who cares? Question 1. How's life? Oh man. I know it's... this is like the most simplest question out here, but that actually does go pretty deep. I would say it's pretty good. Really good, actually. Again, I care for someone that I really love. I'm getting my first suit in March. That's a big one. And so yeah, I'm really excited about the future. I am really excited. Do you still have friends, or at least the same ones? Well, in matter since I kind of talked about that, but I still keep in contact with some friends that I made like during childhood, but it's still something I need to work on, of course. Are you still in the fandom? Yes. Very much. In fact, it probably devolved into something I would have never comprehended. Is Destiny 2 still your favorite? Very much. How many hours do I have? How many days do I have now? 124? Yeah, that's not time consuming at all. Have you went to a fur meet? No. I went to a furry convention though. During the time that I made this letter, I was looking forward to a fur meet that I was going to during the spring break of 2020. But then the pandemic hit, and I didn't get to go. But a year later, I actually went to a furry convention. Well, two exactly. That being for Valna and for Northwest. Both of them being really good experiences that probably are a video alone that I need to talk about. How's the YouTube thing going? Alright. I mean, I made a whole hour analysis of a game that immediately died when it came out. This is off topic of the video, but remember when the video I said that, oh, Call of Duty's going to have this bright future and so forth. I'm so excited for this. But then Vanguard comes out. I'm just going to leave it at that. The game is absolute doggo. Have you gotten any better at drawing? Well, I've talked about that, of course, but yeah, I'm definitely getting better at drawing. Are your opinions still fucked up? I forgot what this meant. I guess in terms of the philosophies that I talked about earlier, how I'm a really shitty friend. Sort of, but of course I'm still working on them. And that's what matters. How is your brother treating you? He's actually getting a lot better, I would say. I wrote this during a time where I really didn't like my brother because I really thought he was annoying. But after all, he's my brother. Brothers are always like that. I'd started to respect him just a little bit more. He could still be annoying at times, but I still love him after all. Did you get a job yet? Sort of. I was doing the dish pit during as like a summer job in one of my favorite restaurants. But once the school year started, I was fired. Well, not really fired. What happened is that the labor costs got way too much, so they kind of had just had to cut me out, which I completely understand. When the school year started, I had to cut my schedule to just Saturday, so I completely understand that. Can you drive a car? Oh, this one's tough. I'm still currently learning at the moment, but I fucking hate driving. I hate it so much. Of course, the more I drive over time, the more I'll probably get very used to it, but at the moment, it's still going to need a lot of work. Do you have suspicions that people... Do you have suspicions that... Wait, what the fuck? Do you have suspicions that people think you are a degenerate? Do people think you're a degenerate? Oh, this is interesting as well. Of course, back then, I think the only people that knew I was a furry was my mother. But of course, over time, a lot of my family members started to know. Probably the only, negative response I got was my brother, of course. But as for, other people, like my friends or maybe random strangers, I don't care anymore. I'm starting to embrace this fandom to the point where I'm starting to, neglect all the hate altogether. No, I just don't care. I just don't care about. Okay, we have 2 questions. Is Fortnite still relevant? This is still a hard one, because if you don't know, Fortnite has a lot of, skins per se. Let's just say it's probably doing better than ever. Let's move on. Any new hobbies or interests? I'm starting to get into D&D more. Yeah, it's probably a toss-up. Well, that's the whole letter. It was only about 12 questions, which is why I didn't want to make it as a separate video, so that's why. As for the future of this channel, I have another video that I want to make somewhere at the beginning of the year. As for the future of this channel, I have one video that I want to make after the new year. That's it, because at this point I'm kind of just waiting for my fursuit to come. When I get my fursuit, everything will change. I mean, everything. From my content, my viewing perspective, my friends, everything. Once I have this benevolent piece of foam, everything will change. Everything will get better. I know for a fact. And so, yeah, that's about all I had to say. I hope you enjoyed this video for some reason. It's probably going to be a video I look back in a year or so, because it's good to look back at all the things you've done throughout the year and kind of just reflect everything, good or bad. And hopefully I use said reflections to make myself a better person, and That's all I wanted to do at the end of the day. Become someone better. So cheers to 2022. I hope.